this sounds like a Nine Inch Nails song.
Some kind of like, it sounds like Nine Inch Nails, I think. Which is good. I like Nine Inch Nails.
Check, 1, 2, check, check. All right, I think we're going to get started here in a few minutes. I just want to see if there's a way to turn up my monitor even more. check. There we go. I think that's perfect. Check 1 2. Check there. Check. Check 1 2. 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 All right. So yes, I think we are pretty much ready for this. I hate to be that guy, but do you mind a little bit? Mains in here, that's the thing. Yeah. So, but we'll be fine. Yeah. Oh yes, as am I. All right, we're ready, yeah? Okay. This is fine now, this level. Yeah. We can bring it back up once I'm done. All right, so we were obviously, you can tell tonight, we are implementing new technology. But I want to start tonight with a poem that I've been working on lately. Can't hear me at all? Well, I guess I'll have to shout. So, sincerely me, everybody. It's been a hell of a week, and I am here, Cipriano Ortega, joining you tonight through the airwaves, thanks to the wonderful sounds of Squids Madden on the Star Jammer over there. Give it up for the one-man band over there, Squids Madden, everybody. Thank you so much. But yes, this is the Star Jammer, this is Cipriano Ortega, and this is Sacred Voices Open Mic, so welcome. But yes, it's been a hell of a week. So, here's a poem. Sincerely me. Maybe you really do gotta kill yourself for your art. Van Gogh in his time was seen as a mentally defective. He was murdered by a 16-year-old boy playing cowboys and Indians. Edgar Allan Poe was shadowed by a literal plague every day of his life. He was about to finally marry his beloved childhood sweetheart when he just disappeared. I could go on and on. I guarantee the bigger the martyr, the higher the art, the bigger the fame. The brighter the flame, the quicker to burn out. Is passion death? Is it really finding the final one word and writing it down right before your last breath? What? That's why I think suicide may just be the ticket for me. It's the last train ride from a 9-to-5 job. It's the last laugh you get knowing you did it all for yourself. Even the ending. You become your own god in death if you plan it right. Do I even have the smallest amount of your attention right now? Am I giving you anything at all? I feel like a ghost most of the time. Not noticed, not bothered by, just floating by on a cloud high or a weed or tobacco ride. I see the death of all of us. I see memories of green. What once was the sky is now a concrete ceiling. How much life do you have to waste in a parking lot when you can't find your car keys? What if God was a television? What if God was the internet? What if God is a meme? What if the dessert that you crave so much at the end of the week is just a chocolate cream? What if miracles are commercials? What if nature sets you free? What if all we needed was you and me? I know it sounds cheesy, and I know you can't be me and I can't be you, and we can't really connect through and through, but I just hope you may be able to see me, just me, as me, sincerely, ever so lovingly, me. Well, hello and good evening. My name is Cipriano Ortega, and that was Squids Madden on the Star Jammer, everybody. Accompanying me in my little tirade on the microphone. But yes, welcome to Sacred Voices Open Mic. My name is Cipriano Ortega, and Sacred Voices is a one-of-a-kind open mic because of what we do in this evening. And we're obviously now starting to include a musical feature as well, too, which is awesome. Tonight we have Squids Madden on the Star Jammer, like I said, and Squids Madden is a wonderful, amazing, talented musician, saxophonist, multi-instrumentalist, and he is also a member of my band as well, too, Cipriano. So good to have you, Squids. But yeah, just a little bit about the open mic. You get about 10 minutes for reciting, obviously not the feature, but everyone else. Obviously, we are in a television studio. Hello, Roland. I'd like to talk to you afterwards. I look forward to hearing if you have any poetry tonight. And what I was saying is we're streaming live, so if you can say anything you want, but if you do use any foul language, it will not be aired on public access television. So do bear that in mind. And if you say something and you want it to be taken down, just let us know. Or if you want a recording of your performance tonight, simply fill out the form on our website and we will email that to you for free. So lots of cool things. So yeah, tell your friends and family about this whole wonderful place. If you want an electric press kit and start having some high quality videos for your artistic endeavors, do let us know. So yeah, and obviously we are in a studio, so make sure that you're about 2 fingers away from the microphone. These are very closed patterns, so we want to be able to hear you through the airwaves. But yes, we are streaming now on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, so all those things. Yes, so I feel like talking to the audience tonight. People are like, oh no. All right, so how is everybody doing this week? How was everybody else's week? Uh-huh. Oh, say again? Oh, really? Van Huck. Huh. Oh, so there's a book called Infidel. I'm just telling the audience. Uh-huh. Did the movie ever come out? Oh, yeah. What is the movie called? I don't know the title, but the idea of Infidel is that it's about violence towards women in Islam. Oh, interesting. And he shoots the author of the book covered with makeup that indicates it looks as though she's been ripped all over her body. Jeez. And part of the book is about, I think it's more the hadith. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And using the hadith as a justification, some people do this, and she's actually from Sudan. Some of the people I knew in Saudi Arabia would have opposed a lot of the things that they do, for example, in Sudan. Being, you might say, liberal, even though you're in Saudi, right? But anyway, she was from Sudan, and she wrote this book which you might say is anti, I wouldn't say Islam. You folks can come on in if you'd like. Grab a seat. Mm-hmm. Jeez. Boy, that takes the wind out of my sail of this week. So. Yeah, I see your point, and thank you for listening to my poetry. Yeah, art is, when it's used as that, art is a weapon, and I think we forget that. And words are very powerful, potent things. So, yeah. Yes, that's true. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with you, definitely. Well, it's good to have you here. What is your name? Stephen? Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing your poetry tonight. Yeah. Maggie, how was your week? That's good. Yeah, excellent. Yes, me too. I'm glad it's Friday and take a moment to enjoy ourselves. I saw some newcomers come in. Did you sign up? Would you like to perform tonight? We have a list if you want to sign up to perform some. Okay, yeah, let me hand it over to these folks. And then we'll give it to you, Roland. Yeah, if you want to. Or if you can ask Mateo to film you as well, too. All right, yeah. Roland, you can come on up. I appreciate a volunteer. Let's get us... Yes, but... yeah, it's fine, yes. Yeah, no worries. All right, Roland. Where can we do for you? You can just come on up, Roland, if you're ready to go. If you're ready to go, come on down. Yeah, everybody, this is Roland, one of our poets tonight, reading some poetry. Take your microphone there, Roland.
And he looks me in the eye and he says, "What are you talking about? Taking a nap or going to the bathroom?" I could have choked him. But what the deal is I'm a writer, I'm a fighter, I'm a midnight spider. I'm a graduate of Community College of Aurora, Colorado Film School. Graduate in 2017. I believe I have a future yet. I was born in 1941, the end of the Depression and the start of the Second World War. My dad worked the shipyards in San Francisco with his 2 other brothers. When we came back to Colorado, it was tough after the Second World War. And what I got to tell you is that the government had to go into war. The United States had to start industries, war industries, making ships and airplanes and guns and everything. And what the deal is you can see the same thing happening in Ukraine. I don't know how you think about it, but I'm mad at Putin. And fuck him. But anyway, I'd like to do some of my writing, some of my poetry. They call me Rolling Roland, and I'm going national and I'm going global. This year I plan on being in Poland and Ukraine in December or January. What's happening is that I guess it's how you're raised. And my mother had 7 boys and 3 girls, and I'm the second to the oldest. And what the deal is, when I first started working, everybody complimented me how good a worker I was. And I thought to myself, I learned from my dad, but I really didn't, because my dad, after the Second World War, he went through a nervous breakdown for about 8 years, but he was still making love with my mother, having babies. They ended up with 7 boys and 3 girls, see? And this is part of the story of my family. So, here I am. Here I am at 81, chosen to be a chosen one. OMG, I gotta be free. I've gotta be me. Steak or ham, here I am. On the grandstand. Oh my God, a Cadillac or a hot rod. Any spirit in the power of now. Conscious of how. Hunger and thirst will always come first. Want and need with the resolve to succeed. Pleasure and pain with gain or loss. The moment I thought I was boss. Chieftain of life trip. Spirit and body ship. Choice with mouth and lip. Excuse me. Desire. Energy is desire on fire. Fast or slow. To go low or higher. You master of destiny, friend or enemy in the world of your identity. Choice maker, chemistry, vibration, sensation, ecstasy in life's mystery. A melody filling the ground or the ceiling, revealing which one is appealing. Time and matter creating a trace of found or lost in human space. If life is a shame, who is to blame? Sane or insane, wild or tame? Seconds, minutes, or hours, cold wind or warm showers, weeds or flowers. Here I am, a lion or a lamb, cold wind or warm showers, weeds or flowers. Plenty of blisters. I had 3 sisters. I stand up here to tell you about the greatest love in my life, and it was my mother. My mother. And from 6 years old, work in the fields around Brighton, Colorado, till I was 14, so that was 8 years. She taught me how to work. Now, this is my story. When you work the fields, you work under the hot sun all day long with a hoe in your hand, usually, cleaning the weeds, spacing out the plants, at least the width of the hoe, and you keep on going down the row. Well, what the deal is I was the second to the oldest, and my brother Jake was 3 years older than me. And see, what we have to understand in life is that everybody, the minute you're born, you have your own DNA, you have your own personality with your DNA. But from there we develop character. And as we develop character, we start going into habits. Good habits, bad habits. And at different ages, there's different stages. And you know this because you are as old as you are, and you know more about yourself than anybody. I think this might sound funny, but say I'm 82, born in 1941. What's happening is that I think it was my mom's giving me a work ethic that I cannot stop. So here I am, still going into business this year at 82. I tell everybody my business plan is just to make $1 and something that goes viral. And there's 5.5 million people in Colorado. And if it goes viral and I make $1 on it and there's 5.5 million people in Colorado, maybe I'll get a fifth. If by the time I hit New York City and there's 9 million people, I'll be okay. I'll take the percentages. I think I'm a fairly good writer, and I'm a poet. But what's happening is that one thing is having a mother and father that cares. And if you weren't raised with functional parents, you had a problem. And you start going into dysfunction, and you got a problem. And to me, I am a functional, dysfunctional man. And it was because my dad had a nervous breakdown right at the beginning when I was growing up. Now maybe this makes sense to people, maybe it doesn't. But what the deal is if I live as long as my dad, I think I got 12 more years. And this is funny, but it ain't funny. So I'm not coming up, I'm actually going down. And what the deal is at my age and stage, I don't feel like quitting. When I went at 14, my dad taught me a trade in drywall, and plastering was going out, and drywall was coming in, and they started having a building boom over here in Colorado. My dad was working on the show homes in Thornton, and I helped him work on the show homes in North Glen, and Pearl Mac was selling 3 to 5 to 10 houses a day, and they were punching that many holes a day to keep up with the demand for the houses that they were selling.
Yeah, the housing market certainly is
Well, listen to
quite a
this.
thing.
No, but excuse me.
Yeah, you got about 2 more minutes, Roland.
Thank you.
So wrap it up, please. Thank you.
Okay. So what's happening is that by my dad teaching me the trade, I've made good money all my life. And some people have, and some people ain't. At 1962, I was making $8.50 an hour. And that was damn good money at that time. Pearl Mac was selling their houses for $10,000 to $13,000 brick. Today, you know what the problem that's happening to you in your generation? And I have to say this tonight because this is very important. To everybody in America, inflation is the killer. Inflation. Houses never cost the kind they cost today. It's ridiculous. You're dealing with an inflated society that has to deflate. And when I started going to college, the first thing they had me on is doing research. And I researched the Federal Treasury. And I found out, I read a letter. I read a letter that said, whether it was to the President of the United States or Congress or whoever, but it said that there is going to be, the Federal Reserve wrote this. They said there was going to be, by 2030, there was going to be a fiscal cliff. Now, if everybody understands what a fiscal cliff is, or they don't, but it's government money going totally down. Now, that means there's going to be another depression. And if you're ready for it, good. If you're not ready for it, I feel sorry, but everybody's going to suffer.
Well, on that note, thank you very much, Roland.
Thank you.
Appreciate your kind and generous words and wisdom. The depression is coming, everybody. And there's nothing we can do about it. Thank you very much. All right. All right, Maggie, would you like to read some poetry tonight? All right, please come on down. Everybody, welcome Maggie and Squids. Let's get you back on the Star Jammer here. So we're implementing something new tonight, so please be kind to us. We're trying to start something new on these second Fridays to implement more guest musicians to feature the poets. So we're still figuring out some sound stuff, so be a keen listener and speak up for tonight, because we will adjust this, but this is a new implementation, so. And Squids has done this. He's a professional. Yeah, trust me. So he's got a business card. Yes. So thank you very much for everyone being here. Has everyone signed up for the open mic on the list here? If you haven't, I'll have it on the bench over here, the little stool. All right, Maggie, take it away. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Maggie. I appreciate that and appreciate you. Maggie, everybody. Squid's Madden on the Star Jammer. I also want to set this as well, too. So Squids will be playing throughout the breaks between performers as well, too. And if you don't want him on your poem, I don't think he will take offense. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. We're just, like I said, implementing something new. If you enjoy those frequencies, he's quite good. It is quite a journey, and we are actually going to be taking this whole concept onto the radio. So Sacred Voices has a slot on KGNU already with our featured artists being interviewed on that. But we also are going to be given the go for a pilot to start doing the Star Jammer. So if you're interested in doing this for the radio, do talk to us about that. So yes, very good stuff. All right, who else do we have on the list? Adi, would you like to cite some poetry? Would you like Squids or not? The Star Jammer? All right, yeah, no worries.
They called me Little Trooper. The way I absorbed the smoke like a sponge and still found a way to emit sunshine. The houseplant sitting on your shelf, quietly photosynthesizing the madness into magic. Silent pleas of thirst just wither away in the static of it all. The way I packed away that pain, you would think I was going on a trip. I swallowed it like beer at a frat party. I filled my lungs with that polluted air, and in time, the depression swam around my body like these contaminated rivers, reaching all around my neighborhood. Like a viral disease, seeping in through broken windows and cracked back doors, still waiting for fathers and sons. They smell that smoke coming from the alley and decide to cross the street, not realizing the privilege they hold in having the choice. When you come from burning homes, engulfed in a silent flame, words fall short to justify the vices in which we choose to drown ourselves in. Just yesterday we were playground kids, covering those burn marks with dirt and crude humor, waiting at the window for it to be our turn. But smoke fills these streets like fog, so the crossroads become hard to see, until one day you're the driver in a road that only ever seems to curve. You get dizzy and start to spin out, but Tierra Madre does not stop turning for our miniature catastrophes. But maybe that's why I find sanctuary in parked car conversations, because for a moment you almost forget about the drive. I used to pray for smooth, paved straightaways, but random trips up the mountains taught me that the scenic route is very rarely an easy venture. It's all a part of the journey, Mom says, the reflection of passing roadsides bouncing from her tinted shades. My hike to the top might not be an Instagram moment as I talk to the stars and maybe cry a little, but sometimes I just need to feel closer so I know that they can hear me, you know? Sometimes my anger towards the oppression I see spills onto those Capitol steps like blood, and I'm there hurling my rage like stone at its walls, releasing years of pain through my voice. Much cheaper than therapy, let me tell you. My healing isn't pill-shaped or in the form of a $7.99 per month subscription. It won't come in a package on my porch, and my home will probably never look like the ones in the advertisements anyways. My white woman in a yoga pose looks more like me melting into a crowded dance floor, dancing like nobody is watching, where nobody knows my name and nobody needs to. I make mediocre drawings to find the beauty in the world around me that inspired it, and I am reminded that beauty and perfection are two things. No amount of high-end makeup can change what God gave me. Picasso didn't draw inside the lines. Frida was no fashion model, and nobody ever changed the world by following the rules. The roses that grow from concrete create their own nature. So when they talk about meditation and breath work, I wonder if they expected to see us playground kids exhale fire. When we think of love, we think of romance, but sometimes the touchy midnight conversations with your best friend where you truly feel heard for the first time mean more than some flowers he bought on sale. And sometimes no diet out there will ever fulfill you like the love of a delicious meal made with intention. Community gatherings in my neighborhood with folks who come from a hood just like mine but dream to make a difference light me up, feeling so much more blessed and comfortable than any convention or black tie event. And to me, I think flunking out of college taught me more about life than my degree ever really could. I used to try to battle my demons, but now I invite them in for tea, just so I can hear what they have to say. And on nights when I'm feeling especially rambunctious, we disappear into the night together to paint the town. For I have learned that peace is not the absence of my pain, it is the acceptance of it. So as we march along our given paths, don't mind me as I stumble sideways through mine. I'm still coughing up smoke from the flames I've tried to drown and brushing off the dirt from the burns I've gained along the way. I've learned that strength is not marching forward every day. It's taking steps backwards, to understand why the gym still makes me feel like that little girl in PE class that just couldn't keep up, and cheering her on. Whether it's 1 step or 3, it's not tomorrow or in 30 years. It's today. It's in deciding that I woke up this morning and I did something to make me happy, and that is more than enough. We don't choose the cards we're dealt, but I wasn't made to fold. So with love, anger, sadness, laughter, and confusion all stacked between my fingers, catch me at the table, chin up, poker face, ready for another round. I may not know how to play this healing game, but I'll figure it out along the way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adi. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, please, all of you, this goes for everyone. Please come back. This is why we do Sacred Voices is for all of you. That's why we make it a Friday night, too, because it's time to discuss these things. I also wanted to mention, for those of you who don't know or don't even care, Mercury is in retrograde, so take that for what you will. So, but yes, I'd like to invite Squids back up on the Storm Jammer. I'm going to recite a piece I've been working on. Oh, that works. Point in the speaker, yes. There it goes. All right. Do something godly, churchy. There's a reason to this. Yes. So I was in San Francisco not too long ago, and I had the impression that San Francisco was still like it was in the 60s, and that was a mistake of mine because I just wanted to romanticize it. It was an interesting experience. Very interesting experience. A lot of it was good. A lot of it was racialized. A lot of it was traumatizing at times, quite honestly. But I was walking down those wonderful hills that they have in San Francisco. And, well, they are certainly a lot of hills. They make the hills in Seattle look like very small hills. So it's uphill both ways. Do take note of that. And I was in a mood. And I walked by a church. And it's a famous church in San Francisco. It's right near where Janis Joplin used to live, and Jimi Hendrix, and all these famous people from that time period. I stayed with a woman who's 93 years old, and she knew Janis Joplin. Her husband wrote a song for Janis Joplin, Mercedes-Benz, if you know it. But quite an interesting time. Yes, there you go. Thank you. So I went to this church. And this is what came out. A church commands silence. It's where the performance is prayed. The doors to the confessional are not open to me. I hear the clinking of change from a poor man's pocket. A mother shushing her child. These 4 walls and these sacred figures are why they all had to die. For a brief moment, I am moved, seeing the kneeling white nun praying her white dues, the kneeling white angels, all a golden brown. Perhaps, I'll kneel down on the pew. I'll look up at you, but you are not my God. I see running naked children screaming in the night. I hear steel bashing, plagues, and hordes. I must admit, you are indeed awe-inspiring. But I hear the nuns still in the corner conspiring with the Madonna. And me, with my sense and sensibility, these are not godly gifts given to me from an eternal fire. These are just things that I built with my own hands for my future desires. So no thank you. No, I don't need this. I bid you good day. I'm gonna go. Thank you very much. Yes, a church, everybody. So that's my perspective, and you can take it or leave it, and that's perfectly fine. Zach, would you like to come on up? Yes, Zach, everybody.
Oh, sweet, sweet. Thanks. I might go. Maybe. Who knows?
It does pick up sideways too.
Sweet. Maybe like, yeah, let's scooch it right. Thank you. Sweet. Hey, yoo-hoo. My name's Zach with a CH, and I'll play a couple songs. This one is called Daydreamin'. I was getting lost in my head the other day. Caught me daydreaming. Caught my heart receding. And I was getting too close to the edge. Felt the ocean spray. Yeah. Caught me daydreaming. Set in tension with the sun and the waves in the evening, thinking, take me to the ocean. I was coasting, lost in emotion, drinking the potion. Now I'm seeing clearly. I just want you near me, baby. But take me to the ocean. I was coasting, lost in emotion, drinking the potion. But now I'm seeing clearly, and I just want you near me, baby. What is it about the waves, the way you say goodbye, the way you say hello, goodnight, the way you greet the morning light? And is it about the waves, the way you say hello, the way you love the life you chose, the way the ocean grazed your toes? But take me to the ocean. I was coasting, lost in emotion, drinking the potion. But now I'm seeing clearly, and I just want you near me, baby. But take me to the ocean. I was coasting, lost in emotion, drinking the potion. But now I'm seeing clearly, and I just want you near me, baby. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, yeah. Oh, 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 yeah. Yeah, da, da, da. Yeah, yeah, da, 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 da. Yeah, da. Sweet.
Okay, Zach, where's the rock and roll?
I think I left it at home. Let's see. This one is called Watered by the Rain. Who turned out the lights? It's about time I close my eyes. I wonder if I'll ever wake up. The door opens a crack at dawn. Got no sleep, nothing's wrong. I wonder if I'll ever give up. But I can hear the birds, they're calling out. Will my vision's blurred? I haven't seemed to close the blinds to my heart, but nothing seems to change when we remain the same, and nothing seems to grow. Watered by the rain, pain remains, but seasons change. I'll leave it up to God, watch me grow. Oh, oh, hey, oh, oh, ya da 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 da, oh. Watered by the rain, pain remains, but seasons change. I'm thankful for the chance to grow. Ooh. Sweet, sweet. One more? Time for one more? Sweet, sweet. Let's see. I haven't played this in a little bit, but this one's called Cleopatra. I'm just trying to find Cleopatra. Wandered through the desert finding passion. Couldn't count the sheep but left the pasture. My shepherd's master said, it's easy enough to see distance of horizons in front of me. Oh, bombarded in my sleep visions. Where you are, where you could be, but he said, listen to it, calls your name. This river still runs well, the seasons change. I'm happy that I know ya. I'm happy that you called my name. Desert still evades the drought. The winds pick up, move the sands around. hide the sun from our faces, searching high and low for the oasis. Searching high and low for the oasis. The sun was kinda bright, I couldn't face it. You're ooh. You're but I don't really know why I'm searching, and I don't really know what I need. Listen to your heart and be still, it'll surface. Passion and purpose is all I can see. So take me to the waves. No, there's far away and far and wide. But take me farther than I thought that I could go this time. Yeah, da 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 da. Oh, yeah, da 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 da. You.
We appreciate that. Thank you so much, Zach.
Sweet,
Zach,
sweet.
everybody.
You. Thanks.
Thank you. Now, Mateo, since we have squids here, you know, I haven't heard you. I miss you. Seriously, I don't want to pressure you, but I'd love for you to come up and share your wonderful words with us. You're my favorite poet as of right now. So, do you wanna come up and do some? Okay. Yeah, go get it. Yeah. All right. That's fine. Yeah, I wondered whose phone was that. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, and then squids can accompany you there. But yeah, that reminds me, Aston Lopez, the co-executive director of Sacred Voices, as well as myself, are music producers as well too. So if you have any musical projects that even aren't musical per se, in the sense if you just want to record your poetry with some music or accompaniment, do let us know. We have a plethora of musicians to work with, so. Or if you want to just make some kind of recorded spoken word thing of just your voice, just let us know. So we offer that as well too. We got a lot of things we offer. So we're trying our best. So, but we have also some free workshops that are open to the public that are coming up that'll be hosted at our office. And also want to remind you that our first Friday open mics have been moved from the Santa Fe Arts District over to the Lighthouse Writers Workshop. So that's over on 3844 York Street. So 3844 York Street, Denver, Colorado, 80205. The next one is going to be October 6th. So 6 p.m. sign up and 6:30 is the show. So yeah, first Fridays are over there. Second Fridays are always here as well too. The workshops that are open to the public are going to be September 16th, which is a Saturday, which is going to be Finding Your Voice, an Introduction to Poetry Writing. So if you know anybody who would like to attend that, please do let us know. The sign up will be on our website as of tomorrow. The next one is going to be September 23rd, which is another Saturday, Know Your Truth, exploring the history of culture through poetry as well too. And if you haven't already, give us a follow if you'd like on Instagram at Sacred Voices Denver. We also have a TikTok now, so we're up to date with that, at sacred_voices. Also our website, sacred-voices.org. So yes, lots of good things. Mateo, are you ready? Excellent. This is Mateo, everybody. Excellent poet here in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, of course. Awesome, thank you.
We played for Mateo as one of the events that we did. We also do bigger events, fundraising events, and Mateo put it together. That was earlier this year, right? Time is so strange. It was earlier this year, right? February?
Yeah, it was.
It feels like another lifetime,
Time flies.
doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah. So, but we are going to be doing, I think, also something in October, right? Is that still in the works?
I believe so. Yeah. It'll be late October, early November. We're planning a Dia de los Muertos showcase. So if y'all want to pull up and, read some poems, about your ancestors, yeah, please feel free to do so.
And that's going to be at the Museo de las Americas, is the intention, yeah?
That's still in the works. We still
Okay.
have to talk about it, but yes, that will be a potential venue. So
All right.
yeah.
Yes, we will keep you posted on that. It is still in the works, but we have
Yeah.
lots of things going on. So, and I
Right.
want to do also a shout out tonight to Blush and Blue as well too, and Terwanda over here, and another performer, a couple performers, actually all of us, most of us have performed over at Blush and Blue. It's a wonderful queer bar over on Colfax, and there's also poetry nights there and karaoke as well too, Tuesdays. Yeah, Blush and Blue. Yeah, it's a great place. Yeah, it's my. When is it, Layla? Tuesday nights. 7, 8. Yes. And then there's karaoke as well too, and live music and burlesque and everything. It's quite a cool place. So yes, without further ado, Mateo, please.
All right, perfect. How's everybody doing tonight? Mood. Okay. Yeah, so as I was telling Cipriano, I've been working on a lot of new pieces because I think there was a period there between 2018 and 2022 where everything that I was writing was just like love poems, but also grief poems. And I'm kind of like growing out of that right now. Yeah, they tend to, yeah. They tend to go ahead. Right, exactly. So like because of that, I haven't really been performing like any of my newer work because I'm very much one of those types of people who like I need to have my final draft, otherwise it's not gonna go out. So yeah, but that's kind of where I'm at. But that being said, I kind of was called to perform this piece because I feel like it kind of just describes where I'm at right now in terms of like trying to love myself and like choose myself and like really cultivate my relationship with myself, as opposed to getting distracted with like other people. So yeah, right, yeah, it really is, and you have to cultivate it. Yeah, and I feel that. Yeah, so I mean, I'll go ahead and get started. So this one is called Drunk Calls I Didn't Make When You Would Have Answered Me. I am a mortician, excavating my self-worth from bodies where love once lived. Can I pry our old love from your arms? Did you keep it warm for me while I was gone? Can I bury myself, my woes in you? My mouth salivates in contemplation of your hot breath on my neck, how sweetly you spoke your need into my ear. My fingers flirt with numbers on my keyboard. How much space is there really between us? My mouth stops short of calling you, from savoring your voice one more time. On this edge, I can convince myself that there will be a next time. I keep the anticipation of you on the tip of my tongue. I stay hungry, though I have options. I refuse to eat wholesomely, convincing myself that this body, thick with desire, means that I am full. The idea of you has too much power over me, and you never asked for this. So I refrain. I take a deep breath into my own lungs. I keep my hands, my self-worth, my love to myself. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, that was really what I had, but
That's fine.
yeah.
That's all you want to do.
Yeah.
You treated me to one of your poems, and that's what
All right. Yeah. Well, yeah, thank you so much.
Mateo, everybody. All right, Stephen, would you like to come on up?
Okay, so credits. This is a book, Rocks Full of Sky. It's 9 years old. It's in print, and it's sold out on Amazon twice. And it actually had a hardcover, but that's completely sold out. This features the national parks and other places like Monument Valley of the Four Corners states. Okay, so Grand Canyon, Arches, stuff like that. And those poems appeared, for example, in Wilderness Magazine of the Wilderness Society, the first lobbying organization on the planet.
Yeah, you said to go. You said on your something about you to Google. You saw. I saw.
Yeah, if you Google me, you get a good 4 pages of publications. And of course, most of my stuff, I've been publishing in academic and other journals since 1982 at a rate of about 4 or 5 a year.
Nice.
I'm hearing you guys talk about teaching people poetry. I'm not hearing you talk about publishing.
Well, you can teach that for us now, can't you?
Well, now here's an anthology of Grand Canyon poems. And in fact, it was created because the guy read my Grand Canyon poem that's in my book.
Oh, very nice.
And so, of course, he included my Grand Canyon poem. But he said, wow, that's such a good Grand Canyon poem. Let's make a book of Grand Canyon poems.
That's funny. I remember when I was 8 years old and I saw the Grand Canyon for the first time, and my parents asked me, what did I think? Or what do you think of the Grand Canyon? I look at it and I say, it's one big hole.
Well, I hiked to the bottom 14 times. So I'd say if you just went there,
Yeah,
you
I definitely
didn't
need to
see
go
it at
back.
all, you didn't go there at all.
Yeah, well, 8
If
years
you
old.
didn't go to the
8
bottom,
years old.
you've never been to the Grand Canyon.
I gotta reach that bottom for sure. I've hit a couple bottoms in my life. So.
Okay, now this book is poets who were nature poets of America, and here's part of the list. I don't know if you guys know any famous American poets. Robert Bly, W.S. Merwin, Maxine Cumin, Denise Levertov, Mary Oliver, William Stafford, David Wagoner, and myself, Stephen Lefebvre.
Very nice. Yeah. Well,
So
take it away. That's a great
everybody in
self-introduction.
this, I'm exaggerating, has a Pulitzer Prize, a National Book Award, or is like the most famous poet in America, except me.
That's how it goes.
But anyway,
But thank you for joining
I
us.
think
this
the year
evening.
that came out, I was nominated for a Pushcart Prize, which is the highest prize in American poetry.
That's very cool.
Didn't win it.
That happens.
Okay, so that's who I am. I'm going to read one, maybe two. My stuff is real different. I'm a lot like Shakespeare in terms of form, but
Oh, very nice.
not exactly. It's actually quite original.
Well, how now, brown
Form.
cow? Yes, indeed.
So you're going to mock it, huh?
Oh no, not at all. I
Yeah,
I
you
studied.
just did.
I studied Shakespeare quite a lot in college, actually.
Okay, yeah, I have a
Yes.
master's in it, right.
That's great. That's very
Okay.
good for you. Yes, indeed.
All right, so my stuff thinks, okay? So in other words, it's a lot like Heidegger or
All
Nietzsche
right.
or something
Excellent.
like
Yeah,
that.
Nietzsche's a great guy. I'm a nihilist all the way.
Actually, he was opposed to nihilism and was worried about it.
Huh. Well,
Yeah, he
How's
thought
about that?
nihilism was a thing to dread.
I think
and
it's
be
a thing to
afraid
love
of.
and embrace, personally.
Yeah. No.
The good old
Actu-
nothing, the good old void. So.
I'm very much an anti-nihilist. I'm quite a positivist.
Well, we're hitting it off beautifully, aren't we? Go ahead
Okay.
and take it away, please.
This is called beauty. Always one sensation when I see a woman who is beautiful alone. Always, as if in another place part of me were falling endlessly through clouds in an amorphous hidden zone. Always beauty, always one pure face slaps me like a hand. Is it just me whom the vision transforms into stone? Everything around me slows its pace as if it agreed that she might be why being feels, why feeling has this tone of missing something it cannot replace. Is someone immune? Are some of you able to pass by those you desire without leaving part of you behind? Can it be the beautiful is true and the world is false? Love does require passionate response. Were you designed to contain emotion, always new, as if you could casually admire your own deepest need? My unconfined heart observes, as if I always knew this woman, before the stars caught fire, when feelings were a jumble, still combined. Hopeless, what we offer is sincerest. The glamorous require frequent tributes from the people they displace. If beauty can arrest us with its merest hint, its possibility or scent, just imagination of a face, is love then the farthest or the nearest? Is the beautiful what distance meant by assigning everything a place? Our humiliation becomes clearest when despair takes joy on its descent. When rejected, ours is no disgrace. Some have said that beauty will be how, in the end, absurdity makes sense. The exquisite draws beings to a stand. What we think we know should not allow one image to remain intense when the thing is gone. You understand because a sunset happens even now that was in your youth. Experience goes beyond 5 senses in this land, this country where all women take a vow to the infinite. At their expense, obey its inarticulate command. What is love if we have not confessed it? Cowardice or deeply held respect? And why does the need for love insist? The heart hopes for a crisis that would test it, never knowing what it may expect. That is also how we too exist. Our best art could never have expressed it, how beauty can harm us, its effect on the endless longing we resist. No one lacking beauty has possessed it, even when she ceases to object, kisses us, and lets herself be kissed. Music reaches us. Before we hear it, noise around us vibrates in a throng of agitation. Nothing seems to guide it. Then a tone emerges and can clear itself out of the background, so a song finds a steady updraft and can ride it. Beauty does this for us, making spirit suddenly remember it as strong. Beauty is like spirit, but beside it, almost touching, infinitely near it. Without beauty, every day seems long. Those who suffer homeless in the cold, burning rags and garbage to stay warm, who have faces altered by disease or whose bodies do not fit the mold their culture says is beautiful, whose form makes them jokes, the people others tease, those whose skin is wrinkled and can fold on itself, whose spines at last deform into a curve, who cough, convulse, and wheeze, who were once desired, now grown old. Life torments them until they transform. Do they shine inside? Yea, even these? Earlier than everything we sense, in the shadow world before we are, silence taught the nothing how to shout. We treat beauty with a great pretense, though the land it rules is very far. Do even the stars live so far out? Beauty is unlike our own existence, neither ordinary nor bizarre. Everything we see has come about because spirit has no good defense against beauty, which we only mar and must usually live without.
Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate that. Squids, would you join me on the Starjammer? You inspired me to read some Shakespeare, since I want to prove I do not mock Shakespeare, I recite it. All right. Yes, do something drony. This is from Richard III. Droning and sinister, maybe. And sexy with the saxophone. That's kind of what we do, right?
They found his body a while ago.
They did. That's a great movie. Yeah, that woman's incredible, quite honestly. I think, yeah, it was a cool moment to live in history. Yeah, one of his, I think the way he signed his signature was Richard III, so much to be desired, is what he always would sign as. So thank you, that's perfect. Now is the winter of our discontent. May glorious summer by this son of York and all the clouds that lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarums changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to dreadful measures. Grim-visaged war hath smoothed his wrinkled front. And now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly to the lascivious pleasings of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for such sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking glass, I that am rudely stamped and want love's majesty, to strut before a woman ambling nymph, that I am curtailed of this fair portion, cheated of feature by Decembering nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world scarce half made up, and that so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I walk by them. Thank you. Yes, I love Shakespeare. All right, Layla, would you like to come up and do something? Would you want to do something with squids? Please. Layla Brown, everyone. What's that? Oh, yes, of course. Yes, that's quite a good show. Not very many people know it. Yeah, I love that. Exactly. Yes. Yes. Yeah, it's a great show. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Shakespeare, yeah. It's just, exactly. Yeah. No, not at all. Yeah, I did a lot of research on him because that time in history is just so fascinating. So, yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, very much so. That's a great scene. Oh, no, you're good. Layla Brown, everyone.
Hi, my name is Layla, and I don't believe in superlatives. I'm going to read a couple poems in the vein of what Mateo was talking about earlier, in the vein of learning to love oneself. So, this is Someday I'll Love Layla Brown, Part 1. I started writing this poem a number of years ago when I had a poetry teacher say to me, you don't have to always say the perfect thing. You just have to try and trust yourself. And I asked myself, well, what would it take for me to trust myself? Because I really didn't at the time. And so I wrote this poem to say, what would I need to hear? Someday I'll love Layla Brown, and it will be an honor to do so. Someday, Layla, I will love you so thoroughly that nothing unequal to it will tempt you. Layla, listen. I'm not afraid of your pain, and I'm not afraid of you. Your gifts are so much weightier than your dysfunctions. Your brilliance is so much more than a glint off of your sharp edges. The ugliness drowns in the depth of you. The meanness gets lost in the complexity of you. I felt your warmth, your sweetness and tenderness, your liveliness and passion, seen your determination and your boundless generosity, and your existence brings me joy. So much that cradling and honoring your weight is no question to me. Your pain brought you here, but so did your gifts. Layla, listen. I would so much rather you complain to me than suffer in silence. I would so much rather you spin me long, long yarns than shut me out. I would so much rather dig around in the weeds and muck around with you than putter around on the surface. I am so happy that you're here. I look forward to you every day. Of course I'll hear you out. I will listen and visit and share space with you until you can reabsorb your scars and long, long after. I won't go anywhere while you're unpacking. When I say I want you, I mean I want all of you. Not a performance or a shell, but every unruly little animal living in the warren of your psyche. Of course, Layla, of course. You are so valuable. I want you to be free of this dehumanizing shame. I have no doubt that you're worth everything you aspire to. Someday your gifts will appear to you as wings so strong your burdens will be light. Your brilliance is so much more than a glint off your sharp edges. The ugliness drowns in the depth of you. The meanness gets lost in the complexity of you. Show me the biggest dragon in your hold. I'll look at it and say, hello there. I hear you roaring. I see you spitting flames, rampaging all over my beloved's heart. I see you and I know that she and you and I and every single one of us simply needs empathy and acceptance to heal. So dragon, come back to life and transform. You are not a monster. You are a cornerstone. Thanks. All right. Part 2 came a couple years later when I gotten a little more practice at that whole trusting myself thing. Part 2. Yeah. To the days your tears make it so hard to breathe you want to vomit. To the rage you smothered to volcanic dormancy and the life you built on its quiet slopes. To the way you insist on severing lies the way your uncles in the islands slice open coconuts with machetes. To the brain fog you wandered through and kept heaving your lungs full to blow away. To your slow defrost after freezing in fear. To your thrashing against the walls of those stories. To you, dark beauty of the night. To you, generous one. To you, lost. Applause. And raptures. And paeans. And applause and raptures and paeans to your insistence on digging it all up spoonful by excruciating spoonful. Someday, you'll have more than solace. I know if you insist that the world grow enough empathy and honesty to hold you properly, it probably won't, but you will. So now I fill my world with voices that insist on me when I don't know how to, that give me language like a crowbar to pry apart the wordless pains knotted inside. I fill my world with voices that fill in the holes in the story I tell myself about myself. I am more whole every year. I immerse myself as though in salt water that lifts tear gas out of the skin and eyes. I have been burning and balming for years. I have been burning and balming for years. Someday, I'll stop living for who my parents said I was and needed to be. I'll stop living for the shadows of lost loves and the ways we could not see each other. I'll stop living for what capitalism says I need to be. I'll stop living for the shrunken, distorted space white supremacy erases me into. Someday, I'll forgive myself the horrors of my early drafts. Someday, I'll forgive myself for being naive. Someday, I'll forgive myself for the way the world has swindled me of my body, by which I mean my context. By which I mean my wholeness, by which I mean my time, by which I mean the way the world taught me to hate myself before I had a chance to know myself and replaced my fundamental self-love with a shame so bright it could gag a black hole. Someday I'll forgive myself for the way the world stole my eyes, stole my hands, believing they would be the devil's playthings without endless assignments, stole my voice, letting me write only assigned work and leaving no time for creativity, letting me sing only pre-written songs. The meaning of life is not to contribute to the economy. Though some politicians would sacrifice their grandparents on the altar of coronavirus to the god of the red line, I object, and I subjectify myself. I built myself a new skeleton after the world stole my body. I stitch every new fiber of muscle and tendon and neuron. I am building a home in my body, and I can make my body whatever I want. I will tell all my inner children they can come live with me, and I will give them everything they need, and I will never abuse them, and I will show them how to be human. For now, I'll keep banging on the door of my lucidity. I'll keep soaking my psyche in Epsom salts. I'll keep recapturing the territory that is my body and insisting she is sovereign and insisting he is gentle and tender and insisting they are all real and we are all here, all of my parts. From this feeling of falsehood to the times when I feel true, to when the dreams of queer joy are my lived reality, to a chosen family and our agility amongst the chaos. Applause and raptures and paeans and lullabies and bops and slow jams and life and life and life. Thanks. Thank you. Give it up for squids. I love this contraption here. I'm so curious and I want to ask you about it later.
If you like that, we're going to be starting to do this on KGNU for 30 minutes through Sacred Voices through a radio show. So if you want to be a featured poet, yes, we will do that. We're going to do that more and more. So yes, Without further ado, I am so happy and excited to introduce our featured poet for tonight. Our featured performer is Nathan Alexander Moore. Nathan Alexander Moore is a black transfemme writer. She is an assistant professor at the University of Colorado Boulder, whose research explores black transfemininity, speculative fictions, and temporality. Right? Temporality? I'm going to talk to you about that. Sounds interesting. Their debut chapbook, Small Colossus, was published in 2021, and their fiction was shortlisted for the 2022 Santa Fe Writers Project Literary Award. She was a 2023 Lambda Literary Fellow in Poetry. Their debut fiction collection, The Rupture Files, is forthcoming from Hajar Press in April of 2024. Congratulations. Yeah, come on down. Everyone, welcome to the stage. Nathan Alexander Moore.
Hey, everyone. So beautiful to be here. It's been really cool, super interesting. I'm going to read some poems. We need the mic. Okay. Can y'all hear me now? So I have to be this, how close do I have to be? Oh, I have to be this close. Oh, it's very intimate. Okay. Okay. There we go. How about now? Can you hear me? Yes? I get real close? Okay. Ooh. Hi, sir. Okay. Okay, this first one is called How to Write a Poem. Your therapist asks you, how do you cope? You say writing poems, but you feel the need to clarify. You say, I write about the things that hurt me in the most beautiful way possible. She nods, and you can tell she doesn't want to know how that works. If she would have asked, you would have replied with, I sit with the sorrow behind my eyes until they crawl down my cheeks. I trust they'll grow legs and choose to move. I wait for them to show themselves. I sit with the pain until the bruises surface. Wounds have a way of keeping their own time, and pain has its own sense of rhythm. Once my body has counted the broken hours, I ask what it remembers. Sometimes my ears will burn with leftover sounds, and other times my back straightens, my spine becoming a bookshelf of erect recollections. Sometimes nothing happens. Then you have to dig. Sometimes poems need to be found, have to be excavated, so I make my mind a scalpel, and I peel back the flesh of the present. I slice into the muscles of memory. I pierce the nerves of not yet forgotten things. Sometimes you have to scrape the bones, salvaging just a little starlight from the marrow. Then you know you've done something almost right. This next piece is called Comorbidity. Oh, thank you. To be twice is sick, to die doubly, doubled over, to die with someone else, to die twice, to die your death and to die theirs. She is your mother, and you have inherited her famine, her heart hunger, her love starved. She was unprepared to grow a life outside of her body, so you must weather her soft and subtle neglects. There are hungry silences sitting between the two of you, banshees perched on each shoulder, wailing, all grave-mouthed, but neither of you bothers to listen. The two of you molder in decadent unison, and you were too young to know how to put her back together, and you're not yet old enough to know how to be callous. You remember only afterwards that it's too late, that you've been here only 2 decades and not 6 or 7 or 8 or 9, or what's really the alternative when no one can choose how or to whom they're born, so maybe it's best and most prudent for one to settle on how to die. Perhaps it's a type of care. It's most certainly a form of control, how you regiment life toward anti-life. No room left for chaos or calumny or the cruelty of crossing a busy street. Your mother has taught you many things, how to die slowly, how to wither tenderly, how to swallow the poison ever so sweetly, how to smoke this frozen wreckage. Leave this world behind bit by shattered bit. Welcome death to your door with sluggish but open arms. Maybe use your sleep as a trial run. Then you will feel it slip into you. Not a cold seepage or a cutting slither. It is a silent, purposeful retraction. The ways in which the walls close in, sharpening the edge of every room nearer and nearer to you. The years before and after fall away until every moment is one of these moments. Every night is one of these nights. The clock has stopped ticking. Now is all there is and all there ever will be, but now is dead. She knows she was never going to be ready for a child like you, so she tries to leave, apologetic in her apogee. But you see the sorrow in her eyes. Life, like the two of you, has never been very kind. And although death is a certainty, life is always a choice, and living in a world like this is the hardest one you'll ever have to make. So you do what any heart-sore child would do. You reach out gently, gallantly, wary, but ready to build something shaped into the semblance of life, something mouthy and death-mocking, something to hold in your hand, like a promise, like a present, like a gift. Thank you. This one is called She Wanted a Daughter. It's a little bit longer, so excuse me. 1. And to hear my mother tell it, being pregnant wasn't all that bad. Well, easy enough. She had been this way once before, so there were very few surprises. And besides, she was praying for a girl. If you ask me, she should have been more careful in her conversations with God. 2. There's always been so much water between us, her swelling feet, the sweat that seemed to overtake her, the solid whirlpool that I once swirled in. Despite it all, she was hopeful. She didn't mind any demand her new daughter to be demanded of her. She enjoyed the cravings for hot wings and mac and cheese and greens and like, my God, have I always been this same river running over these same shores? She says she never even minded how her bones slid into new configurations or how her tendons slid into tense syllables, and she even found all that kicking kind of funny. 3. When she rings out her memories, the raindrops whisper of keyboards and kicking. From as early as I can remember, my mother has told me the story of how her sitting down to type at her desk sent my feet into a frenzy. I think that all of my submarine spellings were the first poem I ever wrote for her. 4. Hey, Mama, I like the way I can feel your muscles push and pull language, letters running away in your veins, a tide that appears on the page. Hey, Mama, did you know that your heartbeat is the only symphony I'll ever need? Hey, Mama, like, what are you typing, and is it for me? Is it a story, a letter, a love note, perhaps? Can't you see that I'm writing to you too, trying to stitch my grammar into your sternum, pressing rhymes into your ribs, singing ballads into your spleen? Every stretch mark is an attempt at cursive. Mama, I'm so sorry if it hurts. So much of the words between us will sound like wounds. Don't worry how I know this. I mean, how can I not? Hungry and hiding out in this wellspring of your womb, nestled down between this alcove in stomach and spirit world, all I do between drinking your cells into my own is swallow shadows. Mommy, it's okay. Know that I'm writing to you too, each heartbeat a hymn, each joint pop a prayer, every stitch in your side is a signature. I write to you across this continent of a body so that you never forget. In the beginning, I begged you to notice me. 5. You said you woke up at midnight to a trickle, but you knew what this all meant, that the levee was bound to break, sweeping you off your feet and away from your slumber. The labor of pouring a person out of your body, 8 hours. I mean, that's overtime if you ask me, but you said it was easy compared to the 3 moons you spent coaxing my brother through that same canal. You tell me everyone in the room was a woman. You, your mother, the doctor, the nurse, and just perhaps all the spectral sisters floating above, below, and about, whispering to themselves about the newest one just about to emerge. So was it my broad shoulders or the pretension of a penis that wiped all the she-soft off of me? How could you not notice all that femininity in your amniotic fluid, and who was the first to write it away? 6. You had a way of evaporating from my childhood, and I had to become this storm to reign over myself. So much thunder has played in our mouths, sounds that would shatter across the other's chest, so many small and intricate disasters and countless delicate drownings. But I still love the way how we held the ocean in each other's hands, how tears and sweat became a balm when I told you what you already knew. Of course, you say, I always wanted a girl, and how the waters for a moment stilled, how the tides subsided, how the world between us settled into a shape. So, thank you. This next one is called Bathymetry, and I wrote it in like 2019, right after Toni Morrison passed, because she's one of my favorite writers, and I was real sad about it. So, bathymetry for Toni Morrison. You said rivers like writers overflow with memory, and oh, how you have left us surging with the past, flooded with your passing. What are we to do now without the cool drink of your language? How are we to swell without the rain and the raining of your words? What paths will we chart without the waves of your knowing? How might we navigate any further without the tides of your observations? How am I to swim through these wretched waters without the purchase and the promise of your assured wisdom? How can I do anything but sink without the anti-gravity of your imagination? I know that if I must, I may surrender to the wind and ride it, but what about the water, Miss Morrison? What about the webs and the warpings? What about the riptides and the whirlpools? About the stillness and all its unbearable slippages? What about the depths all too dark and demanding? How can I do anything but wallow in your wake? Perhaps there's just enough in remembering that water is as much divination as it is destruction, remembering that water is equal parts nourishment and annihilation, remembering that there's always love in the crisis. You have shown us our duty to face it all with grief and grace and gratitude, turning towards everything with both sword sense and pen in hand, knowing that we have always had so much more to suffer and survive, that we must flow in our floundering, that we must endeavor and endure, moving forward with the knowledge so deep that we have forever loved each other so carefully, so deeply, so terribly. Remember and recognizing what we have always been, this water writing itself into an unsure and unfinished sentence, an overflowing overture to our own damn selves. This piece is called The Fracture is a Cautionary Tale. 1, your bones are not the only hard thing inside of you bound to break. There are other vital frameworks set to shatter. Worst of all, these other things won't spurt blood or scream nerves into alarm or pierce the skin to greet foreign air. No, the skeleton of your spirit will only sigh into the quiet hours of the night. It will wither with so much beauty that you'll find it normal, if not unremarkable. Maybe you'll cry once you recognize all the wreckage held hostage within you, but probably not. You'll most likely keep going after that inner light has faded, only paying attention once you've laid down all the requisite material for a life, only to find your arms aching with empty, your mouth drought dry, and every inch of your stomach full of hollow. 2, maybe, just maybe, the fracture is a cautionary tale. Maybe, just maybe, a bruise could be a blessing. I mean, isn't our pain supposed to teach us something? Perhaps we're lucky, for not every anguish will announce its inauguration. But remember, you are not destined for decay, and there's nothing regal about rotting except that for the fact that a little death always brings a little life, some new lesson or small insight, a bit of proof that you are indeed still alive. But you can be sure that a part of you will wither and fester and perfectly putrefy, because sometimes death is the only way to let go. 3, but there will come a day, and it must come, when you reckon with all of the reaping that you've done. You'll have to look over all of the tender and exquisite plots of ugly that you've nestled inside of yourself. Observe how carefully, how dutifully you've assisted in your own undoing. There's never been anything beautiful in the way you cut yourself to pieces, dear. No matter how expertly you cut or how exactly you mangle, there's no serenity or subtlety in these most severe delights. However you may hack and slack, cutting open your countenance until you match the horrors that have come to destroy you, there is still no winning, and it comes at much too high a price. So I beg you, remove the swords from all your sentences, slide the razors from every gaze you give to the mirror, and excavate those talons that you've dug into your own palms. Touch your heart as gently as you would a tender-winged bird, for both need to remember the memory of flight. Okay, this next piece is called The Shaper of Empty, and it's for my grandfather. My grandfather worked in construction as a builder, a day laborer, a shaper of emptiness. I remember his rough hands and imagine all the buildings he must have pulled from the earth, stone and metal saplings that he nurtured from nothingness. I think of how my mother tells me, you know, Pops ain't have no middle name. And I wonder at what it means to have a void left in the center of your identity. He died when I was 8, so our relationship has continued, necessarily so, beyond the boundaries of time. I've had to live with all of these immaterial unmemories of him congratulating me on my 16th birthday, of him waiting patiently while I work my words through tears, coming out to him for the first time, and then again, and then again, and then again. I know he would have been the first person I told, and in a way, in my mind, in the most fervent tributary of a multiverse, I got to choose. But perhaps he always knew, had already seen that I was this little fury of feminine. I swallow a sigh as I close my eyes. I walk into the watery dark held back by my eyelids, and I find him there, waiting and wistful. I have something to tell you, I say, and then it all comes rushing out. One truth after another, after another, after another, each one pulled, knotted, and hanging from my chest. All right, all right, all right, he says, little buddy, with his non-mouth. His legacy is many things. The features he spread across 3 generations, the wise silver gilt of my mother's tongue and mine, the precise and artisan craftwork of making something out of nothing. Thank you. This next piece is for my sister and my childhood best friend who I met in middle school. And if you're like trans and met like your first queer friend in middle school, you know that it's real. This one's for my sister, for Chris Marie Bell. 1. Oh, sister, how your face is a scrapbook of my soul, how your eyes have held me, how those lips have soothed and shaped all of the aching and battered bits, how that furrow right between your brow says, I'm here, I'm listening, it's okay, I can handle it, and more often than not, now girl, what the fuck? Sometimes, quite often, I'm astounded at how easily you wear the pieces of us. 2. Oh, sister, do you remember how we met? With you, a middle school queen with absolutely no apprehension about appearing just as fabulous as you are. You sweeping into my life and cracking the spine on my quiet and bookish sense of self. We laugh now thinking about how we almost weren't friends, and how can I tell you that at first your freedom terrified me? How you carried all of your sunlight right there on the surface, and how you were too much of yourself to do anything else. I'm sorry for never having said this before, but thank you for crashing into me, into that afternoon, and for warming over everything since. 3. Oh, sister, remember how we swore we were mutants? And we hoped our powers would grow into our bodies, and then we'd just like leave. Go anywhere, do anything, maybe be heroes, but probably be like righteous villains. Anything but be stuck in schools whose hallways felt like funerals, where every day in every classroom felt like an open war. Maybe if you could move things with your mind, or perhaps if I could shed this shape and just become something, well, anything else, then maybe we could have saved the days. I mean, but look at us now. No powers, no potions, no screaming jet, no cerebro. But somehow we made it. Gracefully, we did it anyway. We came out the other side, not always whole and not always happy, but a team for sure. Partners in crime, like, of course, a family nonetheless. 4. Oh, sister, do you remember the day I fell apart, crumbling into a pitiful pile of rubble in your palms? How did it feel to hold this broken open thing? Was I stinging to the touch, and just how sharp were all the edges of me? How did you do it? That magic trick, how you pulled all of the stillness of the room into your fingertips and made it flow down my back, calming all of the faulted lines and staunching all of the churning flow. You reminded me I've always been many things, but never a disaster. 5. Oh, sister, Remember your name. Ain't no twister gonna steal yourself away. Oh, sister, we sure ain't got a whole lot of time, so shake your shimmy, sister. Remember, you're the love of my life. 6. Oh, sister, do you ever find it funny how we talk about death like so easily? How we chart our path into the afterlife ever so smoothly? And maybe it's because we've seen parts of each other decay and come slowly back to life. Maybe it's because we've endured so many undying days, which by their end, we felt the whole world begin to collapse only to rise the next day and find almost everything had pulled itself back into shape. Maybe it's because we've known nothing to keep us apart in this world, so why fear what comes in the next? Maybe, just maybe it's because you know I would die without you. So why wouldn't you be there, sprawling on some celestial beach with an iced tea in one hand and an even sweeter thunder rolling up out of your mouth? I'll find you laughing once again at me only because you can't imagine it had really taken me that many seconds to find you again. 7. Oh, sister, you are all I know of the sky, endless and leaping and wide and there, always right there and never moving. No matter what storms may swarm between us, there's always the stars of your eyes, the moonlight of your smile, the rain that just might cloud and clot your cheeks. My God, my sister, how do you do that thing you do? Being here with me no matter where I am or wherever I go, right here, looking out for me, looking over me, holding me to this earth as surely, as gently as the air in my lungs. Thank you. This is the last piece I'm going to read. It's called Small Colossus. Don't fret, my love. Your heart has always been a small colossus, unbroken even in its steady and seismic achings. To say that it is broken, is rending, is torn would be a mistake, a falsehood, the most powerful form of self-sabotage. It has always been a sea of iron wrapped in writhing silken flesh, a minor miracle tucked behind your rib cage, never imprisoned there, just nestled and nurturing. Always a small wonder, regal in its regeneration, some little scrap of divinity making half God from mortal matter. Always some shadowed singularity drinking all of the dark matter into your center and birthing out a universe in the making. This is you. This is your body. Always teaching you how to endlessly bleed and mend, how to forever gift and grieve. Always beginning and always end. Always the whole story offset in the core of your chest, that hole inside of you that has always been everything but hollow. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, come on down. I wanted to do a little brief interview before we close out. If you don't mind, you are the feature, so you can sit down here right here if you'd like, yeah. That's all for it, and then we'll wrap up this evening. All right. Well, thank you all very much. Well, thank you very much, Nathan Alexander Moore. Appreciate it so much. Tell us a little bit where we can find more of your work.
Yeah, can y'all hear me? Yeah, y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So the newest work isn't out yet.
April of next year.
Yeah, April of next year. So April 4th, 2024, my debut collection of short stories is coming out, the Rupture Files. And it's 4 short stories about like Black queer people trying to navigate various disasters. There's mermaids and werewolves and witches and vampires and apocalypses. So
sounds great.
you can also pre-order right now. So if you go to like Hajar Press and type in like the Rupture Files or my name, please get a copy. And
fantastic. Yeah, I'll definitely grab one for sure.
yeah, we'll have a book launch event sometime.
Well,
I
if you
don't
need
know
help with that, maybe we can help you out with that. So
Right. That's definitely a possibility. I mean, we're going to have like multiple ones, but like
yes,
definitely
for
this
sure.
would be dope.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming onto the show.
Thank you
Yeah.
for having me.
Yeah, so I think we're going to close out the night, but give it a hand for everybody tonight and our feature poet tonight as well, too. Thank you all so much for a wonderful evening, and I will see you next time. Make sure that the red light is off. We are good to